What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles. You're rocking with Lyles Movie Files. Today, we're going back on Figure Files. Mattel revealed a slew of product over this past Friday and a little bit over the weekend. We got some very cool things that I'm excited about, some head scratching reveals, and some downright wacky things that in most cases I'm going to be getting. So I'm looking forward to breaking down all this stuff with you. First up with the basic series. This is a line I don't really care that much about because I need my figures to pose so I could do some stuff with figure photography. These jokers are basic now. They've lost so much articulation that I can't do anything. And in the case of the Championship Showdown Ric Flair figure, I couldn't even get the Joker to stand up without using the included stand. So, moving along, this year we got the Rhea Ripley and Charlotte version of their match at WrestleMania. And this features Rhea in her blue and white outfit that's very contrary to her typical all black leather ensemble. Charlotte's in one of her purple lavender kind of outfits. It's a good set. I'm sure this one will look good just because they've already tried to mix up a few Rhea head sculpts and they've done a really good job with the Charlotte head sculpts. So if you're into these two, this is a feud that just won't die. We're seeing a lot of this even right now in today's WWE. So they can get this set and add it. And at least this has a very unique looking Rhea Ripley. Next up we've got Drew McIntyre and Goldberg from the same WrestleMania. Goldberg's wearing his like MMA tights or shorts. So it's not his typical wrestling look. This match was very spam finisher heavy. I think it was like 5 minutes, but you can reenact all the spears and the big boots that you want to your heart's content. Then they've also got the tag team set up in this as well. So we've got Street Profits in their blue attire. That's a cool look. Hopefully we'll get that in the Elite set because I'm a big fan of Street Profits. And they're all bringing of the smoke. The highlight, and probably the one I'm going to look at for potential head sculpts, is the SummerSlam 97 pack of Bret Hart versus The Undertaker. Now this is, I think I've been clamoring, begging for 1997/98 Undertaker for a long time from Mattel. And this is the first one that we're getting over the course of the next year with Undertaker from his match where he's defending the title against Bret with Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee. So far we don't have Shawn in his so tight small shorts, which I'm fine having in my collection. But this Undertaker possibly features the best 97 era head sculpt, so I'm very much looking forward to that and seeing what Mattel does with this Bret head sculpt, because we've seen another figure that does not have the best Bret Hitman Hart head sculpt. More on that in a second. So they showed the last series of their Masters of the Universe line, and this one is Stone Cold Steve Austin as Trapjaw. So he's got the metal mouth and the hook arm. It's kind of a weird one for Stone Cold because I would just kind of just always do him as a member of the Snake Men. Like that just fits in with his motif so much more than Trapjaw, which seems such a random, arbitrary choice for him. We've got another repaint of Rey Mysterio as Stratos. That one just makes too much sense. Rey even did that look at WrestleMania, so of course that works. And the final one is China as She-Ra. Also interesting choice because I don't, one thing, China was never blonde. So it's just an odd choice, but it looks cool. And they pull off the purple highlighted section way better than the WrestleMania China that we got, because this one actually has some pop. It has a little sparkle to it, so it's like, yeah, that's what you should have done with the Elite figure. Like I said, that was the last series of their Masters of the Universe line. They're now going to transition into a WWE Superstars line, which is very reminiscent of the old AWA Remco figures. This is wild to me because way back in the day, I used to have a few of these, and I didn't even really know about the AWA outside of when I started watching on ESPN, and most of the figures at that time were long gone from the promotion. But the line featured Freebirds, the Fabulous Ones, Larry Zbyszko, Kurt Hennig, few other guys, the Road Warriors and Jimmy Garvin. Now all of them had like this basic body, and the only difference was the head sculpt and the paint job. But they were pretty decent figures for their time, and you could do more with them than you could the LJN figures. So they had that in their favor. So they're starting this line off, and we're getting Honky Tonk Man, Hollywood Hogan, Ric Flair, and he's got a robe, he's got sunglasses, and a mic. Honky Tonk Man has his guitar, and it looks like his outfit, his cloth, his ring gear is removable, because we see a picture in package of Honky Tonk Man without it. So I'm assuming that this is removable and not just a chase variant. Hollywood Hogan comes with the NWO spray painted belt, his bandana, sunglasses, and a tearaway NWO shirt and weight belt. The final figure of this wave is kind of weird because it's not a legend, not a flashback, but it's Bray Wyatt, not as a Fiend, but from just a random skit on his Fireflies Funhouse when he was decked out as the Mad Hatter when he was hanging out with Alexa Bliss. Very weird choice, because I figured that they may as well have just gone with another 80s legend, and that wave would have sold out. I figure when we go to Walmart, which is the home of this WWE Superstars line, Bray Wyatt's going to be the one we see hanging on the shelves for a very, very long time. We're just going to move on to another Walmart exclusive since we're already on there. We've seen the Rock figure from this WWE Hollywood line, and I was so disappointed with it because it was Rock as he was playing Hobbs and Shaw from the Fast and Furious universe. And instead of having like the black shirt with the shield vest on there, because that kind of pulls off the Hobbs look, they give him the sarong and the khaki pants and boots from the final scene of Hobbs and Shaw, where he doesn't have that on for very long before he goes into full, military attack when he and Shaw are fighting Idris Elba's Black Superman character. So it's just a weird look, and the head sculpt is smiling Hobbs, which is something he almost never did in the whole series, and it's just such a weird choice for a Hobbs look. Because I would have probably bought a Hobbs figure from them if he looked like a normal Hobbs, but this is such a weird variant choice to use for him that I definitely am not getting this one. Next up is John Cena, also from the Fast and Furious universe, as Jacob Toretta from F9. This one's also weird because it's just a basic blue shirt, black tights or black pants attire, and kind of a sterner John Cena head sculpt. It doesn't feel like this line had a whole lot of work and effort into it. Like it was here's some guys we could do from their appearances in movies. What is the easiest budget-friendly way to do it? Great, let's do that. And it doesn't really feel like they're as screen accurate or as definitively screen accurate as they could be. So Cena's also a disappointment. Roddy Piper is better. He's John Nada in his role in They Live. This is one of those denim wash jeans, so it actually has some paint job to it. He's got a flannel shirt, just like the movie, and he's got sunglasses. I almost think that this head sculpt was the one that they designed this newer one for, instead of the Legends 12 version, which just seems old. Doesn't quite look right. Like the head sculpt on this seems more like John when he's got his sunglasses on and he's seen, wait a second, these people aren't who they're supposed to be. And it's got this puzzled, inquisitive look, which is more in keeping with the movie than it is for anything that Roddy Piper did during that 91, 92 era. So maybe that was the case on this one. But the John figure is much better than any other figure from that series. And the flannel shirt looks good. Underneath, it's basically a Dean Ambrose figure. So we've seen this mold, that articulation style before, but it's a good one for something like this. So 1 out of 3 isn't awful, but I feel like there are better choices they could have used for this first line, this first series to kick off, get people excited about this whole new setup. We also got to look at Wave 2. This one features a more interesting take on The Rock. It's him as the Scorpion King from The Mummy and the solo film The Scorpion King. I've got a Scorpion King design head sculpt. It's got some tassels, some gauntlets. They actually put work in this. And it's weird because I feel like this is the version they should have put out first to show, hey, this is what we could do with a WWE Hollywood line. Showing Rock, as a Scorpion King, different head sculpt. I mean, there's work in this one. So it's not a case of, what you guys do. And if you want an old school figure version of Rock, or maybe some other black athlete who is painted super dark skin for some odd reason, this is a pretty good base torso for you and arms, because most of this you can just take right off. So maybe I'll use that if they ever get around to doing a Too Cold Scorpio and just forget what skin tone he is. The other figure from this setup is Roman Reigns, also from Hobbs and Shaw. It's a weird choice. It's smiling Roman Reigns, which is odd, especially because right now he's a snarling head of the table. So he's got a necklace, he's got a sarong as well, he's got some shorts. It's a interesting choice for Roman. I feel like there are other Universal WWE movies that they could have gone with. Maybe this is an opportunity to do John Cena from the Marine, maybe The Miz from the Marine. It's just a weird choice. Finally, for this, we have Andre the Giant, and his role is Bigfoot from the $6 Million Man TV show episode. Not the Princess Bride version of Fezzik, which I think a lot of people were hoping for. No Hulk Hogan from Rip It, Rocky 3, or anything else. No Thunder Lips. There's no Mr. T from Rocky 3. It's Clubber Lang. I don't know if the licensing would have worked, or they just could have just had Mr. T in a boxing gear. Because, I guess they've done that with WrestleMania too. But, you know what I mean. Bigfoot's an interesting character. It looks like this is where all the budget went for probably the 2 waves. It looks to be a completely furry outfit. And head sculpt totally unrecognizable as Andre the Giant. So if you ever wanted a 6-inch scale Bigfoot to add to your collection, I guess he'll clock in maybe up to 6'5". There you go. So I think maybe he'll sell just to people who want a generic big monster kind of character to pair up with their 6-inch scale figures or smaller. But I don't know what the appeal is for everybody, for WWE fans on this. It's a very confusing, very puzzling line with this WWE series. I think maybe I was hoping we could have gotten a Zeus from No Holds Barred / 1989's big Hogan rival, so I could get another member of that Survivor Series team, complete the main event of SummerSlam '89 with Savage as Macho King and Brutus Beefcake and Hogan taking on those guys. Odd choice. I hope at some point we do get a Zeus though, because he seems like the kind of guy that would have been super fitted for this line. So then we've got this newer deal with the WWE Retro line. They killed it, so Walmart didn't want it basically, and Mattel figured out a new way to get it out to fans, because there were still a lot of people who wanted more retro figures and wanted to add on to their Hasbro style figures from back in the day. We saw Roddy Piper, Cowboy Bob Orton, Mr. T, and Mean Gene Okerlund. The set's pretty cool. It's a bundle, so you can get it all in one box. Everybody's still individually carded, but you can get all 4 of them in one shot, like I figure most people would anyway. Only weird thing is the Bob Orton has his cast on the right arm as opposed to his left arm, which is weird. I mean, it's painted, but it's still like, that seems like an odd thing to mess up on. And that he didn't have his only accessory is his hat. I assume that comes off. Piper has a removable skirt. Mean Gene has a mic that you can take in and out of his hand. And Mr. T also doesn't have any accessories. I do think he probably should have had some gold chains or something, just so he could have the signature Mr. T look, even from his wrestling time period. But nothing there. So, interesting choice. But I think fans of that series will really love getting all 4 of those guys in one shot. Now we get to move on to the line that always has my main attention until the Ultimate Edition line. But first, let's talk about the Elites. So we get to see WWE Elite 88. That series is Trish Stratus. She is in black and pink as the default, and then she's got Canadian colors, red and white, as her chase version. We got Matt Riddle, which looks to have figured out the issue with Matt Riddle's parts, because his first figure is just, he has so many issues with the choices with the body they use for him, with that Batista torso, the arms being too small, and just the complete inability to do much of Riddle's signature moves. I may get this, even though I like the colors on the original one more. This one's like an orange and black. The original was white. If he can pull off more moves, and it's just the torso is better, because geez, that first one was a mess. He's also got a hat and a cloth t-shirt and his flip-flops, of course. It's not as cool as the original one that had his ring jacket and headband, but this is also fitting for a Matt Riddle figure. We also get Rey Mysterio, and he is in his Stratos colors, so that's cool. He's got his eye patch from when Seth Rollins gouged out his eye. He doesn't have a cloth shirt, but he does have that slip over shirt that is pretty much the basis for any Rey Mysterio figure at this point. That was cool. I have not gotten a modern Rey in a very long time, so I will probably pick this figure up just to have like a here's what Rey looked like in the 20 teens kind of version. Let's see. Then we also get Kushida. I'm very excited about getting him. He's basically in his Time Splitters Back to the Future gear. He's got the orange vest, the big goggles, and a couple of swappable hands. Like this figure a lot. Big fan of Kushida from his time in New Japan, teaming up with Alex Shelley. Taking on Bullet Club back in his early days with Prince Devitt and the boys. So definitely looking forward to adding this one to my small New Japan display. We got an MVP modern version. He's got chains and he's got alternate hands, which is kind of funny because I just feel like MVP always gets robbed and cheated out of anything interesting in terms of elite accessories. His very first one had 2 chains and a headband. No additional hands, but I mean, it's like, gosh, we haven't done anything different with MVP in 86 series. That's weird. I also got Roman Reigns more in his head of the table style. So he's got a snarling head expression, a gold gauntlet on his right arm, swappable hands, and the blue Universal title. It is so hard for me to keep up with these random titles and which one is which, but it's got blue, it looks cool, and I'm digging Roman Reigns as a head of the table. So I'll probably get this figure as well, unless they show him as an Ultimate Edition figure, in which case I will make the change. But there's also a collector's edition figure in this set, and this one is the highly unexpected and so ridiculous that I have to get it. Zodiac figure. That's right, Brutus Beefcake's incarnation with the Dungeon of Doom gets a figure, and now I'm like, oh shoot, I really should have gotten that shark figure when it was on discount for $12 at Target. I'm sure now it's like super expensive, and it's going to be one of those big regrets. But I mean, we only had Kamala and the Sharks. It was like, well, if you're not going to do a Taskmaster, if you're not going to do anybody else, you're not going to do the Zodiac, and what is the point of getting this Shark to just stand alone by himself? Since it's been so long, I really hope that Mattel will figure out a way to just throw the Shark out to people who missed him much earlier, when there didn't seem to be any hope of getting other members of the Dungeon of Doom. And I hope this means we're getting closer to getting Kevin Sullivan in various forms, but including the Taskmaster look, just so we can have the leader of the Dungeon of Doom, unless we want to have Curtis Iakea sitting on a throne as a deluxe figure. Zodiac is one of those collector editions. I'm not sure if he is with Target this time or with Walmart, but he was going to have the fringe armbands hanging down. This figure looks cool, and he also gets 2 different head sculpts. So he's got like the yes, no expression and a more stoic face. This is so weird that we're going to get the Dungeon of Doom getting some more members, because I guess now we have the Giant, we have Kamala, we have the Shark, and now Zodiac, and we still don't have a complete 1988 version of the 4 Horsemen. Yes, I'm still tripping on this Barry Windham that they gave us from 1990 instead of 88 like that box set was teasing. Hopefully I'll be able to knock that off at some point on my list. But Elite 88 is pretty solid, and just depending on how that Matt Riddle turns out, it may be the first one in a long time where I'm just on board to get every figure from a set. That's really cool and very exciting. Elite 89 features Nia Jax. She's been overdue for a modern figure for a while. I have her very first Elite figure. Not a huge fan of Nia as a wrestler, so I don't know if I really need this, but she does come with one half of the women's tag team titles. This is all white, so it looks really nice. I'm kind of tempted, even though, like I said, I'm not a huge Nia Jax fan, and then I kind of think it's cool to have newer versions of characters, because like the first one had like the frizzy kind of Afro buff kind of hairstyle. This one's like a curlier version, which is going to mean her articulation is going to be trash. But it looks cool. I mean, it looks like her, like how she looks right now. Drew McIntyre gets an update. He comes with his kilt, some gauntlets, and his sword. I think this is going to be a cool update on Drew. When I got my first Elite version of him from the NXT series, kind of like, well, do I really need another Drew McIntyre? Like, how often is he going to change his look? I think this one is different enough, and I can use that old version to fix up my floppy-legged Psycho Sid version that I had way back when, and just swap them out, because basically it's the same figure, just with a little bit more color on the tights. And we also get our first shot of Damian Priest, and he is in not his black leather, which is cool. I think more of his signature look, but we get him in the purple. Hopefully that purple stays purple and doesn't become magenta or light pink purple when it reaches production. But it looks cool. The head sculpt looks solid. Got all his tattoos. It comes with a vest and two outstretched hands. Looks good. Definitely getting him. Really enjoyed his time in ROH, and really grew to become a fan of his work in NXT. Of course, as usual, he goes into the abyss when he gets to the main roster, but not his fault. Gonna get him for sure. Dominic Mysterio also gets his first Elite figure. He comes with a kendo stick, and his colors are matching with Rey. I think just for the symmetry of having father and son in my collection, I'm going to get this one. So maybe I'll do a dream match kind of thing where having him and Rey take on Cowboy Bob Orton and Randy Orton in a father versus son feud. It'd be kind of fun. The last figure in this set is another crazy, wacky, unexpected release. It is the Goon. He's going to come with a hockey jersey, hockey stick, hockey gloves, and it's just they really went all out with this guy. I mean, he's got the big oversized thick hockey boots. It looks great. And it's funny because one of my first thoughts was, great, now that you've got Scott Irwin's side, does this mean we're going to get the Long Rider version of him so we can add a member to our world class / UWF display for those of us who have those setups? But I think the figure looks good, and I'm hoping we get to see the alternate long-haired version of the big Scott, the big cowboy anyway. So, fingers crossed on that one. Moving right along, we've got Elite 90. We're featuring two members of the already defunct Retribution. Got Mia Yim as Reckoning and Mustafa Ali. I assume we'll get T-Bar, Mace, and whoever else is in that faction of 5 weeks since they started. I do wish, of course, we had an NXT version of Mia Yim. Hopefully that's still on the record, or they're still working out a way to do that, because that was such a cooler look than just Black Mask version of her, and that gimmick just sucked anyway. So we got her with the head mask, and yeah, it's lame, but she does match up with Mustafa Ali, so if you want a complete Reckoning for some reason, they've got you covered. There's Randy Orton. He's got white tights, so that's a change. It also comes with a chair, which is something that's really unique for this WWE line. So maybe that's a time to get an updated Randy Orton. I think the last time I got one, like his current day, he was still fighting with Batista and Triple H against the Shield. So I am probably overdue to get a new Randy Orton from his contemporary modern look. We've also got Bronson Reed making his debut on the line, and this is from the NXT TakeOver when he wore a Bam Bam Bigelow tribute outfit. So he's got the flames on the sides, got the big crossbones. It is a cool looking figure. I'm always down to get NXT guys before they get ruined in the SmackDown or Raw brands, so I'm definitely getting this guy. Next up is Jey Uso. before his brother comes back, and when he's just hanging with Roman. He's got white tights again, which is kind of like, oh man, I just have a somewhat more modern version of the Usos in white and red. It is cool. I'm looking forward to getting this one because I really like what the Usos and Roman have done since they've kind of come together. The Chase flashback figure on this set is Chief Jay Strongbow. And if you know, I've been complaining about not having enough of those 70s wrestlers. This is great. I have another guy now to get swallowed up by Superstar Billy Graham, get wrapped up in the 23-inch pythons, and can just fight him. So that's cool. There's another guy to fight the Wild Samoans, team up with Bruno, team up with sorta not psychotic Bob Backlund. I like this so much. I'm hoping we get a few more of these guys from the 70s and early 80s time period, because that's something, these guys are the building blocks of today's WWF, and it's cool, or today's WWE, and it's cool to recognize them in figure form. So I'm hoping we also see Pedro Morales, maybe early Tito Santana, short hair, green tights, and all those guys from that time period. So hopefully more coming, but this Chief Jay Strongbow figure is really nice. Elite 91 features Bianca Belair from her big win in the Royal Rumble, where she won. And so it's got her with the comic book print, and in the WWE Mattel panel, Bianca actually said she designs her figures, which is cool. I didn't know that. So this one comes with removable earrings, sunglasses, and the WWE Women's Universal title. I have no idea. Like I said, these titles are just all over. But she comes with a belt, so that's cool. Looking forward to getting this figure. Just because of the way her tights are designed, I think I'm going to get every version Elite figure of Bianca Belair they put out. Just because I think they did such a great job with her likeness. This one features a new head sculpt, but it's still really good. And just the designs on her tires, I mean, it's just like, and they're not going to be the same standard boring, just switch the color out. There's a lot of intricate designs on it, so I'm all for it. We're also getting a Hulk Hogan from his SummerSlam 2003 match against Shawn Michaels, where Shawn just decided to show out and just bop and flip around the whole time. It's kind of a goofy match, but if you wanted a ruthless aggression era Hogan, they've got you covered finally. So this is something you can knock off the list. I really hate the head sculpt. It's still the same smiling one they used way back with the Hall of Fame figure. It's time for some new Hogan head sculpts, because we need some that are more reflective of the different eras of Hollywood and Hulk Hogan. And I just feel like they're sticking with the same few and hoping we're satisfied. I'm not satisfied. I mean, we did have to wait forever to get more Hogan figures. It's enough time to get some new ones. I mean, this is like doing the same head sculpt for a Rock and Stone Cold figure. I mean, it's worth it to make more Hogan head sculpts. Got a returning legend in RVD, and this time he's in his tiger stripe kind of invasion, kind of old school ECW, which is great. Can mix him up with that Legends 11 Bam Bam Bigelow and have him fight and defend and take the TV title. Very cool. He also comes with a chair and 2 thumbs up swappable hands. Great for him. Looking forward to grabbing that guy. Of course, now I'm kind of like, man, I would love to see an Ultimate Edition version of RVD. But that's cool. Elite 92, we see a Burnt Fiend prototype, so it's just a grayscale. Looks to just have swappable hands. They did a really nice job with the sculpt. He looks terrifying, and yeah, so we can just have Randy Orton burn him out of existence in our collection if you were so inclined. Adam Cole gets a solo version. Adam Cole, this is post Undisputed Era, so he's in green. He has a new head sculpt, no weird tongue hanging out for Adam Cole, baby. Also comes with a steel chair, so I like this inclusion of chairs. Anytime there's a confusion or a what do we do with this guy, I'm all in favor of them just throwing in some chairs, because you can always use steel chairs for your wrestlers or your crowd. Cole does come with a Chase figure, and this is such an odd choice because we've been waiting, we've been asking for that camouflage NXT complete the Undisputed Era Adam Cole and camo, and Mattel decides to make that the Chase as opposed to the other way around, like they did Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly. So this is weird, really confusing decision. I hope it's not too much and not this huge effort to get the Cole to complete the probably last time we'll get an Undisputed Era set from Mattel. Because I mean, I can't imagine we'll probably get a Diamond Mine Roddy before we get another UE version of him. Because like they don't make enough box sets to justify putting them in there all red, and I just think that's probably gonna be the last UE set. So kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. Then there were a few other figures that I'm not quite sure if Mattel revealed where they're going to be slotted in terms of the Elite Series, but we saw a Chainsaw Charlie, which is cool because we can team him up with Cactus Jack to fight the New Age Outlaws, go in that Royal Rumble, and just, for his crazy time period with the WWE in the Chainsaw. Looks like a sculpted head instead of a, pantyhose wrap over Terry Funk. But sculpt looks good. Comes with a chainsaw because why would you not have a chainsaw with this guy? And looking forward to getting him. Got a Karrion Kross in his gladiator kilt style attire, and Raquel Gonzalez, who I hope they can figure out a way to make thicker, like along her back, and give her arms more definition because she's not a small, slender women's wrestler on the roster. I mean, she needs to look imposing, just like Rhea Ripley does. They need to fix the Rhea Ripleys to give her more bulk, and hopefully Raquel Gonzalez gets it before her first figure comes out. At some point, we're going to see some more themed Build-A-Figure waves for Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, etc. At some point next year, we're going to get a Dominic Mysterio, young Dominic, when Eddie and Ray were fighting over who was the Poppy. It's wacky. It's one of those weird things of like, okay, I'm not excited, not disappointed about it. I don't think I will try to collect this guy unless I just so happen to get all the other figures from that set anyway. But we do see the first Royal Rumble Elite line and for next year, and this also comes with a Build-A-Figure, and we already know who's slotted for this one. It is Yokozuna for 1993. Comes with a salt bucket, and he's back to the white and black attire. It looks cool. Got a new head sculpt that seems a little bit more fitting for Yokozuna than any of the other ones we've gotten so far. I already took the head sculpt from the first white and black one and put it onto my red and black Yokozuna, so I'm gonna have two whites now, which is weird. I'm probably just gonna have to get rid of the other one. But yeah, this figure looks really good. I'm looking forward to adding this guy to the collection, and that head sculpt looks great, and having the salt bucket. Of course, now it keeps making me wonder when we're gonna get a Mr. Fuji with his Yokozuna manager robe and demolition and everything. But yeah, we got this, so he can toss your Macho Man out of the Royal Rumble at the last minute to win. Also have Big E. He looks really cool. He's got some very colorful outfits or tights, like you'd assume from a member of the New Day. It looks good. Got Dakota Kai. She looks good, and this is well timed because you can match her up with your Raquel Gonzalez to take on everybody else. This is a little bit older, so it doesn't have the pink hair yet, but it looks good. And finally, we get the Canadian Earthquake. So it's basically Earthquake with the Canadian flag logo at the front of his tights. Now, I know some people are still like, hey, we want a Yokozuna, or not Yokozuna, we want an Earthquake with just the plain blue. No nothing, not the natural disaster version, just the straight blue. I assume we're going to get that at some point, but I'm cool with getting Canadian Earthquake too. And this matches up with the Build-A-Figure from the set, who is Jimmy Hart. Now, he doesn't have matching Earthquake attire with his jacket. It's more of a, hey, this is a Jimmy Hart you can use for anybody. It's got a pink jacket and piano keys, so it's kind of more of an 80s style Jimmy Hart, but he would wear this stuff all the time, so it's not necessarily focused just on the 80s. It looks good. I already have one, but they fixed the jacket to not make it so bulky, so he shouldn't look as big as Bobby Heenan or anybody, which was my main gripe with the other one. Hopefully they can figure out a way to make him even smaller, just so he can get that really small Weasley look going, because that was part of the thing with Jimmy Hart. They showed us one figure of the WrestleMania line, AJ Styles, and we already know the Build-A-Figure is Tuxedo Vince McMahon. He is probably going to be 8 feet tall and more ripped than any other figure that's ever worn a tuxedo in this line. Just because every Vince McMahon figure is like towering over everybody else or more ripped and just it's goofy. I'm sure this is part of Vince's thing. But I really hope they fix the head sculpt because it was not the best head sculpt for Vince for that time period. It kind of looked like him if you squinted, but I'd rather not squint when I look at my figures, especially my Build-A-Figure ones. Finally, on this end, we get the Survivor Series Elite, and there is no Build-A-Figure, so I guess this program starts with the Royal Rumble set with Jimmy Hart. But for this one, we get Bayley in her modern look with her tiara. She also comes with her title, Universal, Women's, whichever, all blue to show that she's loyal and a member of the SmackDown brand. Definitely getting this one. I needed an updated Bayley. And she has double jointed knees, which is an improvement over most of the wrestlers, the women wrestlers, and she'll be able to do more stuff. I'm still hoping we get an Ultimate Edition Bayley and Sasha Banks soon, because those are the 4 horsewomen. Those are the real pillars of this women's division, and yeah, she's well deserving of getting one. She comes with a jacket as well as swappable fist and the title and the tiara, so she's got a lot of good stuff. Looking forward to adding her to the collection. Bret Hitman Hart, from his match against Stone Cold Steve Austin at Survivor Series 96, gets included in this line as well. That means he has more orange flames, more orange, more salmon pink flame and fire designs on it. I like this outfit. It's very unique. It's a different look for the Hitman. Only thing I don't like about it is that head sculpt. It is not good, and I don't know what this puzzle is with getting the best Bret the Hitman Hart likeness, but this one really doesn't look good, even with the sunglasses. It's just, I can't get it. It comes with a chair. Like I said, I am all about these steel chairs. This one's pink to kind of catch the look of the Madison Square Garden match and setup. I'm down for different colored chairs, so that's good. So yeah, really like everything except for the head sculpt. And that holds true as well with the Hulk Hogan figure and he's got his Hulk Rules rippable t-shirt. He's got double jointed pinless arms and double jointed knees, as usual. And his knee pads aren't that restricted kind, so you can actually do stuff with them. He's got that goofy, no holds barred head sculpt, which just doesn't look right. It's a bad head sculpt. He just looks confused, or like he's been out too long in the sun or something. I don't like it. Hopefully they'll free up a new Hogan head sculpt that they can just start incorporating, and I'll swap this out, because in every other sense of it, it's a great Hogan figure. You've got the dark tan, so you don't have to like imagine Hogan being darker. You actually get it with this figure, which is cool. Let's see. And the final figure in the set is Keith Lee. He is from his Survivor Series matchup where it was Team NXT versus Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. So he's clean shaven this time, and he just has his entrance vest and swappable hands. And the outfit looks cool. I think this would have been a case if they had made a Build-A-Figure. I would have bought Keith Lee just because I like Keith Lee enough, and I would have been happy to complete it, getting this alternate version of him. But I really like the one I have, so no need to get this one. We get the ringside exclusive figure. This is Tommaso Ciampa. He is $30, and I just feel like that's not worth it for Tommaso Ciampa. Even though he was really cool during his run as NXT champ. This is basically from when he returns, only to get squashed and killed by Karrion Kross, and this is before he starts teaming up with Toothless Timmy. So it's okay, but it's not necessarily the biggest era of Ciampa's career in NXT, so it's a weird choice, especially at exclusive $30 pricing. We get to see Legends 13 as well. This is Triple H. He's got the green and black attire, which is a very big attire for him when he was rolling with DX after they kicked Shawn Michaels out, wink wink, and he took over as leader. This is part of that WCW Invasion look, so he's also going to have the t-shirt and camo pants, and I assume the helmet. He does have the bullhorn to lead the charge to let his people go. which as you remember changed the face of wrestling history forever. We'll get a Cowboy Bob Orton. This one also has boxing gloves, so you can do that Saturday night main event matchup with him versus Mr. T, which is a nice touch. He also has a removable cast, which is also a nice touch. So I think it's worth the upgrade for me on that one. We get a Hurricane. I missed out on that the first go round, so I'm happy to get another shot at him. And the final figure on this wave is Jake the Snake, and he is heel, evil, fighting Macho Man. He's got the black glove, and he's got a Cobra. And this is, I'm pretty sure, from that match where the Cobra bit Jake after the Tuesday Night in Texas matchup with Macho Man. So that's a really good one. Nice addition to the Legends and to the Ultimate Warrior Macho Man size collection of Jake the Snake figures. The chase is Jake the Snake Roberts, and this is from when he traveled and ventured over to WCW and fought Sting in the Spin the Wheel Make a Deal match. That's a cool twist. Nice inclusion. I think this is basically the only real WCW figure reveal we get, so it's a disappointment that it's just Jake the Snake, but it's also a cool figure, and I will definitely get it just for that. I'm almost done with all these reveals. The Ultimate Edition line has proven to be a real big success for Mattel, and they are expanding to have an Ultimate Edition Legends. The first figure in that set is Batista in his white and red attire. I am a huge fan of this era of Batista. Right after he split from Evolution, destroyed Triple H in rematches after he won the world title at WrestleMania, and just really carried that SmackDown brand for a long time as the guy while Cena moved over to Raw and did his thing there. So I'm happy to get Batista in this white. This is my favorite look for him. I just like the contrast with the white and red. Definitely my favorite attire for Batista. Happy to get it. This figure comes with two different head sculpts, a smirking one and a yelling, eyes closed, so when he's putting them down for the Batista bomb, in addition to the neutral head sculpt. It's got a cloth t-shirt that says the animal, and two contracts, one Raw and one SmackDown, so you can do that epic shot of him deciding if he's going to face JBL or his Evolution teammate Triple H. So that's a really cool touch. And he comes with the world title, so if you need a spoiler on that, he does go on to beat Triple H for the title. It is really cool. I am looking forward to getting this figure, for sure. One of my favorite reveals of the whole set. It's been rumored for a minute, but we did finally see the Kane and Undertaker. Kane, they needed some way to figure out how to make him an Ultimate Edition version. And I think they did a pretty decent job of deciphering that code. Apparently Kane walked around in a cape for a few seconds. I don't remember that. I'm going to have to go back through my archives just to see that look. But I never saw Kane with a cape. But they included a cloth one for him. And he has two head sculpts. One is the head down, or the hair down, and the other is the hair back, and that's kind of more like the old original style of Kane when he was just coming over there and his hair hadn't grown super long and he wore it more with most of the hair swept back. I like that. It's just a really small niche thing that, you know, crazy Kane fanatics from people who really liked the original take on Kane, like me, will appreciate. He also comes with the voice box, so he can talk like this to Austin. I think my favorite Kane memory, of course, is that Raw when he said, "You're going to be bathed in blood," and he drops the blood on him. It's just like amazing. He also comes with the world title, and now I'm going to have to figure out a way to get rid of my Elite 12 Kane because I'm not going to need him after this figure comes onto the shelf. I said we finally get the 97-98 version of Undertaker. And we basically do. Only downside is Mattel decided to throw in two extra heads that don't fit that time period. They're both more of these modern head sculpts for the Undertaker, and I'm not a huge fan of either one of these alternate ones. The original one's okay. Like I said, I think that Championship Showdown Hitman versus Undertaker set is probably going to have a better, more accurate era for Undertaker for this one. So just like Giant and Flair, I'm going to probably end up getting that pack just so I can improve a figure that already has three head sculpts, but none of them are really great. He also comes with the cloak that he wore at WrestleMania 14, so that's a nice addition, and two other swappable handsets. and they showed us, because it had kind of started to go a little Legends heavy with this line, so they're attempting to get back with some modern figures. We get an Ultimate Edition Alexa Bliss preview, and this looks like from the time period when she's super influenced or hanging out with Bray Wyatt. And we've got the smiling, snarly head sculpt and the also demented look. I think this is cool. I'm really enjoying Alexa Bliss's wacky persona right now. And since I have more of the Harley Quinn cheerleader style, this would be a nice upgrade for me. And addition, with that Ultimate Edition articulation, I can do a lot more posing and having her pull off more of her moves. Very excited about that. We're also getting those fan takeover ultimates. Ultimate Warrior from WrestleMania 6 won that, so we get the yellow Intercontinental title along with the world title in black that Hogan lost to the Warrior. So his fringes are cloth, which is great. So we don't have that normal thing. Not cloth, they're sculpted, but they don't look the way like we normally get them with Ultimate Warrior. So that's cool. He gets a swappable set of hands and all the paint gone from Ultimate Warrior. The only thing with this is I wish they had that wilder, crazy lion mane hairstyle that Ultimate Warrior had at this period, because it was kind of like the Warrior's getting demented and he's losing his mind when he's fighting Hogan, and he's not caring about his hair maintenance. And I like that style, and I don't think we've ever gotten that look from a WrestleMania 6 figure. We've seen several already from Mattel, so maybe there's still time to fix that, hopefully, because yeah, that would be a good thing. And the last thing, because this has been super long, even longer than I anticipated, just focusing on WWE figures. We got their crowdfunding project, the New Generation Arena, which I don't think I talked about the last figure files, but this set is pretty cool. It's got the ring, it's got the blue steps, and it's got the neon New Generation entrance, which is the real selling point of this set in terms of just like the accessories. It also comes with ring skirts that you can unlock with the third tier. There is a WrestleMania and an in your house ring skirt. I am a huge fan of these ring skirts, and I just wish they would make them available at all times. That's something they could also include with figures that they don't have anything else with. I don't understand why we don't get those with the theme sets, because just one skirt for each one. If you didn't want to do a Build-A-Figure, that way you could add them to your ring. But we're going to get those if we unlock the third tier. Of course, the first tier, just the default one, has Diesel, and it's an Ultimate Edition Diesel. Got two head sculpts, got the vest, and got swappable set of hands. That figure's cool. I'm definitely glad to get an Ultimate Edition Diesel, because Diesel has enough looks that I don't have to replace my elite versions of him just because I have a better, more articulated version. So that's a really cool figure. The second tier, though, the one I held out deliberately and not mentioning earlier, is Heel Doink, and this figure looks incredible. It just has the whole I'm so mad at the world, I'm an evil clown look, and it has the 3 different hair sculpts that you can plug in. I think 2 of these head sculpts are original, because we also have the head sculpt expression, and we also have a smiling but not really smiling, like evil smile version of Doink, which I think has been used before. Anyway, this figure looks good. It's got a cloth jacket, which we didn't get before, and an all new body type, which is something these Ultimate Edition figures need. This one doesn't have the gap between upper torso and lower torso, which is a problem aesthetically with the line. So that solves a problem and hopefully sets up Mattel to be able to do other figures smoother like this in the future. It comes with a mallet and 2 additional sets of hands. Now, when I heard about this project, I broke down the price, $250. It's a bit expensive, but when you look at the rings now, they're about $110. So you've got that price, and then you've got 2 Ultimate Edition figures. That takes you down to $60. That runs you up to $60. So that's already $170 for the 2 figures and the ring itself. Gotta figure that neon sign, probably about $40-50. And then you get the ring aprons, which, since they don't make them, and if you wanted them, you'd have to go to customizers, running about $20 anyway. So the price isn't too bad. But the only thing with this crowd-funded project that we don't see with the Hasbro ones, you had to fund it right away. So like if you pay for it, you put in your $250, you're not holding that $250 like you would for a Sideshow Hot Toys figure or a Mayfex figure or the HasLab Rancor or Galactus. That sucker's coming out of your account right away. And I think that's slowing down these pre-orders because people are like, yo, I don't have this $250 that I want to just throw away to you guys until I get this ring next September. And, I think that they'll meet their original goal. I think it was really smart to have Doink as a second tier because, the ring skirts are a nice addition, but I don't think we're going to get those 15,000 they want to get that. And I really think if they had changed the model of when they take the money out, that would have worked out a lot better for people. Because, next year, sure, next August, next September, when the product is ready to ship, you send it to me. I don't like that long form payment where you've already paid for it and they can just do whatever the heck they want. And then, oh yeah, it didn't come through, and then here's your money back, and 4 weeks later. Not a fan of it. Not sure if I'm going to get it as a result, but we'll see. I mean, I really do like all the different parts of this set. I just don't like the payment process. So we'll see. Alright, well that was way longer than I anticipated, but there was so much stuff from Mattel's WWE offerings that I just had to talk about all of it. I didn't even mention the Legends pre-orders on Target. They're still kind of popping in and out as I speak now, so we'll see if they're actually all there and live so you can get them later. But for now, that's it on this episode. I'm going to come back soon later on this week to talk about all of the other reveals from all the other companies. Maybe even I'll get that out before Hasbro's Marvel Legends panel on this Wednesday. Alright, so for now, thank you for listening. This episode of Lyle's Movie Files has been filed.